link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your liberal tier mug. It comes in liberal tiers, white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description. Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
The time-honored White House Correspondents' Dinner, an event that started all the way back in 1920. President Trump tweeting earlier, "I will not be attending the White House Correspondents Association dinner this year. Please wish everyone well and have a great evening." Mr. Trump will be the first president to miss the dinner in more than 35 years. The last was President Reagan, who skipped in 1981 while he was recovering after being shot. Reagan still called in by phone, however, and I want to talk about what this means for an already contentious relationship between the press and the White House. With me now is economist Ben Stein. He served as a speechwriter and a lawyer for President Richard Nixon. He also worked on the other side as a journalist. Ben, I suppose you're not particularly surprised by this development.
I'm not surprised at it. I'm not disappointed at it, and I don't blame Mr. Trump one bit for doing it. I mean, he's a punching bag day after day after day in the media, especially what's called the mainstream media, and I don't blame him for not wanting to go and be a punching bag in person.
Okay, so did you hear what he said yesterday at CPAC where he's talking about the media?
I saw some of it actually on CNN as you were excerpting it. Yes, I had that pleasure.
So he said he said that he called the media the enemy of the people, which is what we heard him say before on Twitter. So he said that out loud. He accused the media of making things up, of making up sources.
I think sorry, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, is that something you would give credence to, or what is going on there with what he's saying?
Well, I wouldn't say that all of the media is the enemy of the people, but look, every day you pick up the New York Times, every day they're slamming him. I'm a great fan of CNN. I watch it quite faithfully. Every day CNN is slamming him. Every day they're looking for a scandal. They're just turning the woods upside down looking for a scandal. They're hoping, I think, to do to him what they did to Nixon a long time ago, and I still haven't found any real scandals. And with all due respect, I don't blame him for being furious at them. And I think he's got a lot of company. I'm out there giving speeches all around the country all the time. Awful lot of people are not great fans of the media, and they see the media as an unelected aristocracy and a effete core of impudent snobs, as Vice President Agnew called them a long time ago, who are dumping all over the mainstream of America. And I think Mr. Trump has a lot of company.
Do you think some of what goes on is self-inflicted by Mr. Trump?
Mr. Trump is not the smoothest operator. I mean, he's not Bob Hope. He's thin-skinned and he fires right back. I agree. Some of it, no doubt, there's no doubt some of it is self-inflicted. But I think this general idea that the press can just hack away at the president, that he is expected to just sit there and take it, is not a sound idea. And I've noticed day after day, week after week, everything's negative. Not one positive response. I mean, here's a guy who picked a person generally among the legal profession, and I am a lawyer as well known, awful lot of lawyers, very well respected guy as the Supreme Court Justice, we hope, and hardly any positive coverage of that. He is doing what his constituents asked him to do.
May I counter that, Ben? Because
please, of course, that's why you're
when
there.
Gorsuch went up and spoke to a Democratic senator, we covered in depth the fact that Gorsuch had said something that actually endeared him to Democrats, and that actually a lot of establishment Republicans appreciated, and it actually, many people thought, tempered Gorsuch, or at least revealed him as they felt to be a moderate that they think he is. I mean, how are we covering this in a negative way, maybe a nuanced way? Or Donald Trump goes to the African American History Museum and he talks about countering bigotry, and we cover that as well.
Yes, you did cover that. So that's one of two of hundreds of stories, most of which are extremely negative. And God bless you for doing that positive stuff. But look at the way they slammed him for not covering right immediately the desecration of the Jewish cemetery cemetery outside St. Louis. I mean, this is a guy, and look at the way the media is endlessly playing him up as an anti-Semite. This is a guy who has a Jewish son-in-law, whose own daughter converted to Judaism, who's never been quoted saying a single anti-Semitic word, and they're constantly slamming him as being a racist or a white supremacist or something without any evidence of it at all. I think, with the greatest respect, and I appreciate your pointing out things where I was mistaken, but with the greatest respect, this is a guy that they're just smearing all the time. I don't blame him for wanting to fire back at them. If he were as smooth as Ronald Reagan, he would handle it more smoothly. But no one, again, will ever be as smooth as Ronald Reagan.
You said you think the press is trying to do to him what they did to Richard Nixon.
Yes.
So give us your perspective on that, because a lot of people look at what happened to Richard Nixon and they say, I mean, what Richard Nixon did to himself. The tapes from the Oval Office showed that 6 days after the Watergate break-in, he was discussing himself. He was discussing a cover-up. You know, the smoking gun tape. I mean, how did the media do that to Richard Nixon?
The media picked one tiny little thing that he did. One tiny little thing he did.
What tiny little thing?
One tiny little thing he did, which is just to discuss a cover-up. He didn't do the cover-up. They didn't follow through with the cover-up payments that he discussed. They just discussed it. This was a guy who brought more peace to the world than any president in the 20th century. Open relations with China. First strategic arms limitation talks with the Soviet Union and leading to an agreement. Ended the war in Vietnam. Brought home the prisoners of war. Saved the life of the state of Israel. And so
you think the Watergate scandal and what was uncovered was phooey?
It was not a good thing. Shouldn't have done it, obviously. But compared with his achievements, nothing. And I think they're doing the exact same thing to Mr. Trump, whose achievements, by the way, compared with Nixon, are nil. But I think they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to undo him basically before he even gets started. I mean, I think it's just extremely unfortunate. The country has real problems, and for them to be focusing on trying to bring down this guy before he's even gotten started is
every time they raise minimum wage. Every time.
Inflation has gone up.
So what's happening in Seattle?
Seattle's not working.
People can afford it.
Go look in Seattle.
Right now, basically the working class can only shop at Walmart. That's it.
Every time the minimum wage is raised.
Yeah,
you were right. I admit you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
It's a minor, small little tariff just to say it's a tariff.
Well, it's a 266%. What was yours?
Okay, what did you do? 45% on everything.
Just admit
not
it.
just one little
Just admit it. Be a
What,
man.
steel only?
No,
no, we're
were
talking
wrong.
all products, buddy. All products coming from China. Yeah.
But you said 45%. It's 266%. You just say, oh yeah, I'm wrong on
How come we
that.
go to Japan and we don't see Chevys and Fords on the road over there? How come it's all Toyota and Honda, and then you come here and it's the same? What, you don't support your own country, so you don't support your own country.
I'm literally creating manufacturing jobs. I'm literally creating jobs that are coming from Asia right now. Look it up.
I don't care. They still
Look it up.
They manufacture here in the U.S. in the U.S. division.
No, not regardless. It's important.
Yeah. You like manufacturing jobs, you say you employ people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then why would you want those jobs to go to China then, which is where they're all going?
What kind of insane statement is that? Like, who said that?
What kind of insane statement? No, it's very clear that the manufacturing
why would I want my
capital
jobs
of
to
the world
leave?
is in China.
I just created
You just
it.
said you're
What are you talking
manufacturing.
about?
Do your competitors manufacture
for jobs
in China?
to stay in
or
China?
overseas? Do your
What sense
competitors
does that make?
manufacture overseas?
Yes.
What do you
They're bringing their products back over to the United States.
What do you manufacture? And I'm just curious.
Packaging.
Like cardboard, corrugated,
Compostable, disposable packaging.
Familiar with GPC, General Packaging Corporation? No, they're in Conroe. I used to work for them.
Yeah?
Yeah, the majority of the workforce is illegal.
Well, I don't know what to tell
Drops
you.
the price down for
How many
Americans,
illegals do you have?
you know, drops the
Take
wages
that
down.
to the table. Answer. Look, he knows he has.
No, the answer's none, but you know what?
Oh, it's none.
Like,
Okay, it took you about 5
it's in
minutes.
Northeast Ohio, buddy. Go check it out.
I don't care where it is.
I mean,
Doesn't matter.
he's like,
Trump's gonna be president. You'll be going overseas.
listen, the truth is, the reason I'm here is because of vitriol coming out of his mouth. I'm okay with Republicans and Democrats. I have no problem with either one. But what I'm seeing is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my lifetime in politics, okay? Somebody has to come out here and say, you know what? Y'all been warned. Because if this guy gets in, it's going to get ugly. No,
They're gonna get ugly with Hillary.
but it ain't going to happen.
It's gonna get real ugly with Hillary.
It's going to get, yeah, just like everybody thought the world was going to burn down with Obama, right? He's a dictator.
ISIS was
All
born with
hell's gonna break
Obama.
loose.
Look at ISIS.
It didn't happen.
Look at ISIS. They're a lot stronger than Al Qaeda ever was. Look at
I
ISIS.
mean, come on. Are you really going to say the Middle East? Do you know who invaded Iraq, Fred? I mean, come on.
Pulled us out prematurely without a single plan for
And left all our tanks
So he
there.
started the fire, and the fire department didn't stick around long enough?
I don't agree that we should have been.
We're talking about Donald Trump here. Donald Trump
Take our
opposed the war.
tanks out at
Biggest
least. Don't
mistake.
give them all
Okay,
our
fine,
missiles.
but you know what?
Destabilize the region.
We have what we have now, and it happened because we invaded another country that didn't invade us. We actually violated international law.
That didn't invade us, so 9/11
With an
was
international
fake?
coalition, everybody just broke international law,
You
and
do
no one was
realize
held
Iraq
accountable.
had nothing to do with 9/11, sir. You do realize that,
Yeah,
right?
that was through a weapons.
Please tell me you realize that.
They did.
My God, I'm going to get dumber standing here by if you don't realize Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. Please tell me you understand.
Who's saying that Iraq did 9/11?
When you said, when
Nobody
you were
claimed
talking
that
about an
Iraq
attack here.
Okay,
versus
Iraq. So you want to talk about war? You want to talk about the Middle East? The Middle East is a direct line from Iraq to the Middle East
Leaving the
problem.
Middle East destabilized was a bad thing. The war was bad to start.
Yeah.
We already established that. It was
Starting
bad.
wars is bad.
But
What do you
bad
think
to
Trump's
start
going to do when that guy? I'm going to bomb the hell out of
Trump
everybody.
opposed the war in Iraq.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, you know what?
He
You're
said
with
multiple
InfoWars.
times
Look
he
it up.
opposed the war in Iraq.
No, he didn't.
He has
It happened after the fact.
said
Look
that
it up.
he will defeat ISIS? Donald Trump?
Trump supports things like getting rid of
You're not going to
terrorists, too.
defeat
That's not
ISIS
encouraging.
until you stop invading countries. That's how you do it. Because when people get bombed and killed, their kids grow up and they say, you know
We're
what?
supposed to
Screw
stand here,
that guy.
arms folded.
What would you do? What would you do? What would you do if a plane came overhead? What would you do if a bomb came overhead and bombed you?
Up here, you react. Well, we'd be dead.
Exactly, you react. That's what's happening over there, friend.
No.
The analogy's the same.
They're radical
Wait,
Islamic
wait,
terrorists.
wait,
They're
this
going to
is
cut
all
off heads
about-
whether we bomb them or not.
Why do you think people get radicalized?
You're saying it's our fault that they're radicalized.
When you bomb people and you kill them.
They get radicalized. Okay, I think we can get radicalized because of their ideology.
Wait, you
If you want to talk about 644 AD, then I get to say
we can all agree.
You know,
It's never going to happen.
Crusades were a response to Muslim expansion, right?
But
Do you understand that, right?
What
So
was the
don't bring
purpose
that
of
up.
the Crusades?
Okay,
So
so
you
let's
wanna-
put this on. You know that
So
based
now
on
we want to go back
All right, you
and
know-
we want to re-argue the Crusades.
you know the 52% of Muslims
we don't.
You want to do that.
ISIS
Look, guys,
Because we were bombing.
2016, all right?
Look,
Let's
you know
stop
that,
killing
All
people.
right, look, you know
It's a
based
real
on-
easy rule. 2016, let's stop killing
have you
people.
looked at-
You know what?
Wait,
It's about the only thing we're going to
Have
be
you
able to
have
do.
you looked at statistics on
You go over and tell ISIS this.
Well,
You know,
we'll stop. You know, a generational
you know that
problem.
over 80% of
It's a
Muslims.
generational
So it
problem.
takes someone with balls to stand up against.
And the president cannot run. You guys are shooting treason. You guys are shooting this. The president cannot be elected under treason. Build that wall. 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 A president cannot run under treason. Sir, there is alcohol on your breath. You've been drinking. You need to back off. I'm sober. You may be sober, but you've been drinking. No, I haven't. You're wrong. I'm sober. I'm sober.
Right at you, dude.
39,000 emails. 33. Where they at? They're gone.
Hey guys, it's Jacob Honeycutt. We're live on Facebook with a Trump supporter and a Trump hater.
We don't hate anyone, sir.
Absolutely do. You're talking about hate. Why is what we think is hate?
I'm not saying that I hate him. I am saying that he incites hate.
How?
I'm saying that he hates Mexicans.
He didn't say he hates Mexicans. Did he ever say that?
He was going to build a wall to keep them out.
Oh, that's right, because we don't belong in our, we don't have a right to defend our borders. You lock your doors at night? Well, why do you do that? You should open your doors at night.
Because I
want to
live
come
in
in
the
and
city.
sleep on your, I don't care. I would like to come into your house and sleep on your couch.
Sir, what
I would
I'm
like to
trying
get
to
some
say...
food out of your fridge. Can you please leave your door open at night?
Absolutely.
You will?
Absolutely.
Will you give me your address so
Just
I can get some
because,
food? I might be
you're
hungry.
voting for Trump
I am
not mean
unemployed. I am an
that I will
unemployed
not
veteran.
help you.
I would love some free food.
Absolutely.
I would love a place to sleep tonight.
What would you like? I'll
Just
look
give
at
me your
your
address.
address.
Right.
I'm not giving you my address.
Why not?
Because I
But
don't
you can lock
trust
your
you. I
doors.
don't know you.
Well, then they don't know Mexicans that are coming across the border with drugs and stuff like that. So
I'm not
that we can
denying
trust
that.
them.
I'm not denying that.
So you have no valid point whatsoever. What else has he preached about hate? When has he ever said I hate you? No? Nothing? Silence is good.
I'm not going to argue with someone.
It's not
that
arguing.
I'm not
it's
going
called
to change
debating.
your
So
opinion.
you have your ideas, and I have
I am
my
not
ideas.
going to change your
In a
opinion,
free
sir.
society, I can spout off my ideas, and you come back
I
with
am
yours.
not going to change your opinion, sir.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out where he is and where to take him. What does he say to take him?
I am not trying to change your opinion, sir.
You're never going to. I'm just trying to figure out why you think it's
I am not trying to change your opinion.
Is that your go-to, Warren? That's just it?
I am not trying to change your opinion. You
That's
are
fine.
entitled to
I'm not
believe
trying
in
to
what
change
you would
yours.
like to.
You can be hateful all you want. I'm just trying to
You
figure out.
are entitled to believe in what you want.
That's not.
I'm
just trying to figure
I
out.
didn't even say who I was voting for. Not once. I have been standing out here for 2 hours, and not once have I said who I was voting for.
I know that. I can tell that. I'm just asking what Trump has said that's hateful.
There are a lot of things that he said. that's
Give
hateful.
two
Trump is a
examples.
vote for hate. I'm just wondering why you're trying to change our votes.
Because he's a racist.
How is he racist? When has he ever said anything
The
like that?
KKK endorses.
What if I told you there's a
Hey,
picture
take a look at this, guys. We got a bus driving by that says Trump hates. Are you with him?
What if I told you the KKK was formed by the Democratic Party to stop
I don't
Republicans?
disagree with you.
Oh yes,
I never
but
said
Trump
that I was
endorses the
siding with the
KKK.
Democratic Party.
So what has he said?
I'm saying that Donald Trump stands for hate.
Okay, that's what you say, but can you prove it with facts? No?
Look at the news headlines.
The sky is perfect.
Look at the news headlines.
Look at right. I should believe
Look
the
at
mainstream
every
media.
single thing.
The left.
Okay, I agree with you on that one. I'll at least agree with you on that one.
Wow. Have you ever seen? You know who Tyler Durden is? Well, this conversation is over.
Have a good night, okay?
Hey, you know what?
Have a good night. Be safe.
Can you tell live on Facebook why you don't support Donald Trump?
Because he's a racist.
Can you give two examples of why Donald Trump is a racist? What I thought.
0.
All right, those of you who are watching, we are live downtown at the Trump rally. There are thousands of people in line to see Donald. We've seen quite a few protesters. As we get closer to the Midland Theater, we're going to see a lot more as we hear there are many in front of the theater. So we're going to go see that as soon as the line starts to move. I'm Jacob Honeycutt. We'll be back soon.
Hello everyone! Hey, I'm just stopping by to remind you that liberals are insane! Social justice warriors are becoming more violent and triggered than ever before. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to KGP TV on YouTube and have a blessed day. Yeah, man!